and it was right there.
But they still have to
He said, this looks good. All we gotta do is just lay right over it. I mean, I got it all I put all new gravel down, pretty much got it all level.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Could see it back there.
They did ours was on concrete, but
Well, see, mine don't have to do that. Oh my, the driveway's higher than yard. Which, all right. You know, all they would have had to do is just slope it down to the alley.
He's like, only if we need to, but yeah, the sidewalk should be okay for everybody. I'm
Much
like,
over.
okay, that's good. I don't know how well life, but I hate walking that thing out. You what?
I took the catwalk.
Yeah.
I've done it before.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people were freaked out by it.
Yeah, yeah.
About 250 riders.
He said he was 100%.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the East Dubuque City Council meeting. It is Monday, June 16th. I ask that you please turn your cell phones off during the meeting and please be quiet during discussions. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. (25-0615) call to order.
Bergmeyer.
Here.
Jagenhart.
here,
Fleur.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Roby.
Here.
Taylor. Mayor Digman.
Here.
Attorney Hess.
Here.
25-0616 staff reports, city manager report.
thank you, Mayor. Cody, you want to bring up your new charge? So I wanted to introduce everybody to Nathan Schuster, our new officer. Nathan just graduated from the police academy.
Hi. You too.
Nice to meet you.
Has experience as a sergeant in the Army. So if you see Nathan on the street, say hi. And we appreciate you working for us and coming and serving the city.
I really appreciate the opportunity. I'll do the best I can every day.
All right.
Thank you.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right. The Highway 35 water main project is nearly complete. They ran into a couple issues. One, the line running underneath the highway and the line coming from the water tower didn't meet up. And so they had to do some extra work. There'll be some extra cost involved in that. But hopefully, we will look for liquidated damages from the construction company, Caldwell, on that. So more to come there. We were able to negotiate with Leibold, and instead of bringing it across the entrance road, which really wouldn't have done anything for us, we went up the entrance road on their side so that in the future, if we would connect it up through, say, the May property to Hiawatha, we are partway there and can go across more easily. The Chief Heim and a couple of his folks are going to be heading down to Alabama in the next week to inspect the truck we bought, the second engine. And you recall they were planning to bond for 2 new vehicles, and by buying a demo with the first one and a 12-year-old truck for the second one, we were able to just take out a 3-year loan instead of 20 for the first one, and the second one we're paying cash for. So it's going to draw down our cash reserves a bit, but that beats another loan payment for the long term. So we're kind of proud of where we're coming from there. And I think if everything shakes out the way that we expect, it's going to be a great truck for us for years to come. Area residents have come forward just today and volunteered to restore the historic fire bell for the fire station, and saw some pictures today of what it should look like when it's all done, and it will be a magnificent thing to be mounted in the new ESB. The Oxford Street project is ready to go, thanks to Pam and going up and getting the last signatures on easements. And so we are ready to begin work up there. There's one homeowner on the curve that while he signed the easement, we are intending to be fair to him because he's giving up a bit of yard. We'll probably make some adjustments in the height of the retaining wall and maybe some structural changes. It's only fair if you're taking somebody's private property that you compensate them appropriately. So we won't have to slow down the construction process, but we will be fair to them as we go forward. Indian Hills, we have all the easements that we need to proceed. There are 2 homeowners who didn't want the option for a future hookup to the sewer system, and so they didn't want to go by theirs. Fortunately, they are 2 at the end of the line, and so their refusal to sign the easements doesn't affect any other homeowners at this point. Had the pre-bid meeting today for the emergency services building, and we had 2 or 3 general contractors in the room and about a half dozen other local subcontractors. I would encourage everybody who knows either a general contractor or a subcontractor to get in touch with them. And for the general contractors, they can get in. They have to have bids in by July 2nd. OriginDesign.com is the website. And I would also encourage our local subcontractors and suppliers to contact the general contractors that they know or have been interested, and try to work with them to come up with a good competitive offer. We'd like good competition, but we'd also like to have as many of our local contractors and suppliers benefit as possible. And so I think that's something that everybody can do to get the word out to everybody that they know on those things. And I would hope that, like I say, our local subs and suppliers would contact and or make arrangements with general contractors to get the job done. So that's what I have.
Thank you. I just have a couple things. I'm happy to announce, if you haven't heard, the East Dubuque fireworks are back on for Saturday night, June 28th. We're going to have an event down here on Main Street, live music, free inflatables. Big thank you go out to Jim and Nancy Neumeister, who stepped forward and donated the money for the fireworks. So that was a really nice donation, very kind thing for them to do. The Edge Foundation, as many noticed, directed their funds for the fireworks towards the pool this year to help get them opened, and Jim and Nancy came forward and decided to pick up the cost of the fireworks. So that event will be on Saturday, June 28th. And then also, I'm not sure if everybody's seen it, but there was a great article yesterday in the paper, in the TH, about Roberta Montgomery, how she has been tending to the flower boxes. It was a really, what's that?
I missed it.
Did you? I got a copy right here for you. So it was a great article. Talks about how many years she's done it, and you know she's been doing it for a long time. So if you see Roberta when you're out and about, just thank her. No, Bob, you had some nice quotes in there too. So good work. That's all I have. Staff reports 25-0616. Staff reports. Alderperson report. Bergmeyer.
Nothing this week, Mr. Mayor.
Degenhart.
One thing, the gals were checking the flowers this past week, and they said they had some mites on them that was killing the plants. So I rode up to Platteville with another person, talked to the Amish. They give us 12 or 13 plants. What was it, Tony? 12?
I think it's
11? He gave them to us. So they brought them back down here, and Tony put new dirt in the boxes. So I don't know where the mites came from, but something happened.
Okay.
We're good.
All right, well, thank you. Fleur?
I'd like to thank everybody who supported the Boy Scouts on Sunday.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Meyer?
Yeah, I got a call today, and I don't know, maybe, Cody, when you're out on tour tonight, up on Montgomery there, I'm sure you've seen, I've had that black tandem dump trailer that's sitting on the side of the street. I mean, if it sits there, that's fine, but could we maybe either have like orange cone or an orange barrel? Because at night in the dark, I actually almost hit it one night. So if he's going to park it there, that's fine, but maybe if we take up a barrel or something or park it around it.
Yeah, we'll have someone go up and address it, but the owner of the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, I get it. They're doing construction work in that, but don't need somebody running into it.
Sure.
That's about it.
Thank you. Roby?
Yeah, I was going to address Ben. That used to be, on that side, used to be no parking. And the signs got knocked down one year when they were snow plowing, and they never replaced them. When they redid our no parking places, they did not add that one to the list in our ordinance. I'm just wondering if we can go back to the no parking on the east side of that street. It's between East and Maple.
Between East and...
Maple. There's a hillside there. There's just nowhere for them to pull off.
It's just on the corner past where Roger Sherman lives.
Yeah. There was, you and I had talked about that. There was a semi and a lowboy, which were disconnected, sitting up there since last Thursday or Friday. I got a lot of calls on that one.
Was that, are they doing construction? Was that what that?
Tri-States.
Yeah.
They're done now. They're back up and running.
Pretty private.
So they were doing work up there?
Yeah, they're doing the alleys in Hiawatha.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I got a call on the second house on the left going up the hill across from the church. The grass is this high.
That's cut.
Is it cut now?
Yeah, I called that into
Yeah.
Pam.
Somebody called me the other day.
I thought they were gone.
Okay.
That's it, Mayor.
All right.
I have one more thing. The house on Sherwood and Sydney, it sits up there kind of on the hillside. It's right on the corner. The back of that house is so overgrown, it looks terrible. We have someone go up and look at that. The front looks fine. They keep the front cut, but the back is just so overgrown.
I think we dealt with that last fall. Is that the one?
But we'll take a look at it.
That we can do.
That's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Thank you. City Attorney Hess?
I have nothing this week, Mayor.
Thank you. Public Works Director Van Ostren?
Yeah, Tri-State finished up the roads for the paving in town, and Elm is supposed to be starting possibly tomorrow. Millen, Woodland Court, get started on Woodland and Hill.
All right. Thank you. Fire Chief Heim?
We're going to Galena on Thursday to pick up $1,900 from Catholic Charities for their grant program from the fair.
Nice.
Go for equipment for the new parade company.
All right. Good deal. Thank you. 25-0617, speakers from the floor.
Well, thank you very much. It's a nice, comfortable seat here, and I'm on the.
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
We have none noted this evening. 25-0618, consent agenda.
Still moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Roby,
Aye.
Taylor.
Twenty-five 0619, presentation and discussion with Diane Gallagher about county zoning and city viewpoint in the city of East Dubuque.
Thank you very much, Mayor and council members. Of course, you see my name is Diane Gallagher. I live outside of the city limits, but I do represent Dunleith 1 on the county board. Through a lot of effort, the county board did approve a comprehensive plan update. And like many comprehensive plans, they do try to look at the total county, look at what's long-term goals. And as the time has turned us more to look for economic development and look for trying to increase the population, especially of young people in Joe Davis County, our county board chairman, LaDon Trost, began 2 ad hoc committees. One, the one that I serve on, the zoning committee, looks at our zoning code, which it looks large in print, but it is on our website. And then the other ad hoc committee is for growth. We're very interested in the major issues for many counties: economic development, affordable housing, and childcare, because we've the Development Planning Committee that I chair is really concerned about trying to find employees and find young people. So as part of the ad hoc zoning committee, we're looking at what would help us grow and be a good place for people to come, buy land, hopefully just like you, move into the city. Because most of the time we want growth close to the communities, that's good for most people, but there are still some people who want to move out into the country. And if you look at the handout, Pam was nice enough to make copies. So I've kind of given you an overview of what our zoning ordinance has right now. It has the typical different zoning districts that are ag, single family, multifamily, and our agricultural land. We have always wanted to preserve that because Joe Davis County is very productive, both with forage, with dairy. We don't want to interfere with ag, but we know that it is a burden on farmers as they kind of do some of their succession planning. They sometimes have children that want to live out on the farmland. And currently, to do that, the Joe Davis County zoning ordinance has used a 40-acre minimum to build a house, buy land, build a house in the county. And you know, there's not too many people that can afford 40 acres just to build a house. So people are often coming to the zoning board asking for a special use. And because of circumstances, the zoning commission looks at the setback, they look at road access, they look at, is it going to take away from a farm? And so most of the time, those all pass. And I'm saying, when most of the time, it's like 95% of the time. So our ad hoc committee is looking at potential changes for that. We have met several times, and the last meeting, there was a recommendation to change that. I want your input on that because the population of East Dubuque is primarily my district, and I want to be correct on the viewpoint of the residents of this district. We could change 40-acre to several different levels, and on that third handout, I have 3 questions on that, and one is to go along with the current, that maybe you really want to preserve farmland, you want to keep it at 40 acres, and I want to tell you, I have gone around the county, and there are people who would prefer to be very strict and to stay at the 40 acres. But then there's also people that would like to have less than 40 acres. We've had a recommendation to change it to 1 acre. And that's why I'm asking you these 3 questions. And then whether you mark your sheet and hand it back to me, whether you hand it back to Bob or John, Pam, I'd like to know your comments on that. And then there's other ways that we could look at making some adjustments, because we only have an ag district. Some counties have ag 1, ag 2, and you have different criteria. Now, I did add in the criteria. When they do offer a special use permit through the zoning, they do make sure that they meet all that criteria. That is a major issue. But the other major issue is the impact of our short-term rentals. Now, we call it guest accommodations. It's commonly known as Airbnbs. Short-term rentals have become more and more popular in our county. They've put a moratorium on it within the city of Galena. There's really a parking issue there. But we have our 2 large resort communities, Apple Canyon and Galena Territory, are the major locations for these guest accommodations. When a person wants to have a home changed into allowing a permit for guest accommodations, they do have to meet criteria, but oftentimes that criteria might include setback, it might include the access for fire and safety. We have a rule about the slope of the driveway. But in many times those requests are passed. What we're contending with right now is, for instance, Galena Territory began as really part-time residences. Over time, it's starting to change, more permanent. And what we hear from many of the people that are building these quite large homes is, I want to build a home now, just rent it out, and then when I retire, that's where I want to move to. Well, we like to have you move, and we have fiber optics, and we're proud that you enjoy the looks and accessibility of our county. But we're also aware that impact of guest accommodations can disrupt neighborhoods. We have not discussed moratorium, but when we have over 700 in our county, and I start looking at other recreational areas like Colorado, like Missouri, other areas, you know that everyone has pros and cons about their guest accommodations. You have a few within your city limits. I haven't, we don't have a local newspaper, so I don't really hear qualms about that. But I would like to know if you have any personal opinions on that, because it will be on our agenda for tomorrow night's discussion. And when we look at short-term rentals, we have to balance the pros and cons, because they do pay a hotel motel tax. 5% of their tax goes into our hotel motel income that then is used to help market our county. And right now, the Galena Country Tourism is using a lot of marketing companies, buying ads, promoting the country, and we do want to encourage development in the other smaller towns, the Elizabeth, the Hanover, the Woodbine, and we really want to work on Stockton next for our economic development efforts. So if you wouldn't mind, I'm really grateful that you allowed me to come and speak today. And I really appreciate you looking at these issues and whether you have personal opinion or you can share opinions for the others. If you just take that third sheet, answer the 3 questions, it'll give me kind of the insight of what you see. Because our chairman, Corey Cassens, wants us to go out to all kinds of public groups. So I'll be going to the school system, to the service groups, any group that might be interested or willing to learn about what's going on in the county. And certainly anytime you have any ideas to help us with economic development, we're so glad now our committee has helped the S&K packaging. That's really a great success story, and I think that we'll see a lot more go on within your community. So I'm eager to answer any questions you have, any concerns. Take those now.
Any questions for Diane? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
And
Diane.
like I say, please share that third sheet. Just mark any of the comments, give them to Pam or Bob. I appreciate it.
Thank you. 25-0620, discussion and possible action to approve special event permit for East Dubuque Independence Day celebration to be held downtown East Dubuque on Saturday, June 28th from 5:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. with closure of the 200 block of Cincinnati Avenue from 231 to 295.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
Roll call?
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Roby,
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
Twenty-five 0621, discussion and possible action to approve an amendment to ordinance for internet merchants in the city of East Dubuque.
Thank you, Mayor. So we've got the language, which is the language from our current code, and in red you've got the things that are taken out, proposed to be taken out, and the things that are proposed to be added back in. I think this came from a number of folks have come to us and said that our current fee of $250 a day is very much out of step with other communities around. And so we looked at other communities. Galena is $500 a year and specifically excludes their Main Street. Dubuque is $250 a year plus $100 for right-of-way to set up along the street. Elizabeth is $20 each time you want to set up. Rockford is $133 a month. And so those are the ones that I am aware of here. I've spoken to several folks. I don't think that I'm not aware of anybody who has one that approaches $250 a day. What we did, or proposing here is going from $250 a day to $250 a year. We had some bonding language in there that was kind of unworkable for a situation like this where somebody's coming and going. They have to have a bond and have it held for 6 months. Well, they wrote that on a fee that's for a daily charge. We added a proof of insurance, which wasn't in there in that code currently, and said a bond may be required. So we've got that option. Then we took the streets that are closed currently. Cincinnati, Montgomery, and Wisconsin are closed to this on the public right-of-way. And we added Wall and 1st and 2nd Street between the railroad tracks and Cincinnati, and made it clear that that's on public streets. So these you would not be able to come downtown and park one of these on the street unless you in the downtown area under this. Now that's something that we could deal with changing in the future, but a person could come down and park on private property. And as I understand it, one of the arguments for the fee was that people who are paying taxes in the city of East Dubuque would be competing with people who are coming in with no cost, no overhead cost for government. Well, if somebody parks on private property, then they're parking on the property of someone who is paying taxes in the city of East Dubuque. So it's harder to argue that you shouldn't be able to park on private property of a taxpayer. So this would make it clear this is, you can't park on the street in the downtown. You could in the other areas, and you can't, but you could park on private property downtown.
So would the fee include private parking?
Huh?
Would the fee include if you're on private property parking?
Yep.
Okay. I think $250 is a little cheap for annual. You do it 2 days, you got your annual already paid. I mean,
What do you think then? 500 for a year?
500.
You can pick and do whatever you want, right?
You can do whatever you want. Yep.
What's
That amendment?
500.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
So moved and seconded?
Sure. All right. So we got a motion to amend the fee to $500 annually. We have a second, so roll call.
Fleur.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Roby.
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
Dagenhart.
All right. Now we need a motion to approve it in general.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second. Nope.
Roll call.
Everybody's jumping on.
Meyer. Aye. Roby.
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
Dagenhart.
Aye.
Fleur.
Aye.
25-0622, discussion and possible action to approve professional services agreement with WHKS for Cincinnati Avenue water main replacement in the city of East Dubuque.
So you've got a map here showing the area we're talking about. We have addressed or are addressing all of the streets that have been the major causes of water main breaks for the last 2 years. So Hiawatha, Montgomery, Oxford, and then this would be Cincinnati would be the other one. Oxford is, as we know, is being done. It's about to be done right now. Montgomery and Hiawatha are just waiting for the state approval of the financing, and then those would go. So probably in the spring, assuming that gets approved. But we thought if we should plan for Cincinnati. Our current situation, I hesitate to say right now because we're just a little low on cash right now because we're buying a fire truck. But if we have the planning done for the water main, then we can pull the trigger with our own funds, and if we're not waiting for a state loan to come through. And so this would bring in WHKS to plan from Jordan up to 2nd Street.
So would we be looking to do this project yet this year?
I would, I don't overpromise, but I would hope that I would be able to come back to you and we'd be able to get it in this year. That would be the hope, but I can't. That's not a commitment.
So is this the area too that we have to take care of the stormwater in?
The stormwater is primarily an issue on Wall Street that we're talking about. Okay. We're talking about reversing the stormwater on Wall Street and bringing it to the ditch. And stormwater would be an issue on kind of from the waterfall area, so to speak, over to 1st Street. But as it stands right now, it's more of a problem of when it gets to 1st Street, what we do with it. So I think that's our major concern there. The sense is, and I'll let Travis, I don't want to play engineer without a license, but Travis thinks we can take up one section of the road and do this work without tearing up the entire road. and I believe the stormwater's in another, which would require tearing up more of the road. So it's not I know where you're going.
Yes.
You're thinking, can we, and because the same question I asked, can we save money by doing both those things at the same time? And the answer generally is no.
I was just concerned if we're ripping this section of road up rather than paving it again and then having to
And
rip it
pave.
up again. Are we redoing this in concrete then?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
So
Bob said the plan is to do one panel stretch. However, that is probably not going to work out perfectly, so there will be some additional removal that I anticipated. But the hope is that we could shoot for one panel.
So are we just doing the water mains or are we doing all the connections to all the buildings too?
We would reconnect the services. The plan would be to just reconnect them in the street unless we encounter a lead service line, and in that case, we'd replace the entirety.
I did ask if he had an engineering opinion on why it was that the water mains break on Thursday nights, but apparently there's no reason for that.
There's too much dancing.
Any further questions or discussion? If not, can we have a motion?
I'll motion.
Second. Roll call?
Roby,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer.
Thank you, Travis.
Everyone?
Thanks,
Thanks,
Travis.
Travis.
25-0623, executive session. Need a motion to enter executive session?
Second.
Roll call?
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart,
Aye.
Fleur,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Roby.
Aye.
Hi, buddy. How are you?
Oh. Yeah.
All right, there is no action coming out of executive session, so with that, 25-0625, a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Roll call.
Dagenhart.
Aye.
Fleur.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Roby. Bergmeyer.
Aye.
We are adjourned.